So I think that's something to be said too, is that, you know, short film differs greatly from feature film, obviously, not just in length, but also in concepts and the approach. So we look at that aspect and we think, okay, for animators, to make a short film could take years, right? Or it could, you know, most of the short films or animations I've made have taken a year to produce. Whereas sometimes live action is a little quicker, right? You pull the lens cap off, shoot it, no. But with that being said, what advice would you give to filmmakers if they're aspiring right now to make good short films using animation? Like, I know sometimes it might be a gag, or it might be sort of, because I've seen some filmmakers try to make a feature film in a short film, right? And it doesn't work for obvious reasons. What do you think makes a good short film?
Well, I think it just depends on the goal. You know, some of the short films that I made have been specifically for animation motion. I haven't, for those ones, I was not really paying attention to the story. I was just, okay, this is for animation because I need to see how can I animate something like that. So I was giving myself some scenes or actions that I would not be keeping in the studio. So I was just testing that. So that was my goal. If you're gonna go for something for the, you know, the story and the, you know, the hero's journey and all that structure, that it is something that is super important. I think if you have a short film, I've seen short films, even my short films, that they're really, I guess, satisfactory level with all the technicalities and motion and all that, but the story, is just kind of okay. So at the end, if you show that to somebody, like just a civilian, not an animator, they just see it and they go like, hey, hey. You know, after 6 months working, that 1 year, you know, like this one, I don't know how long was the short film. To produce.
To produce? About 6 months?
6 months.
8 months.
8 months, same as mine, 8 months. That's 1 minute. So you really, for now, I just say story is important, you know, because I don't want to see people saying, you know, it's not good. Story is good. I have spoken.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing as Mario. I think that the length of the films are different, obviously, but story is the most important thing, no matter what you do. Whether it be like even if it's a commercial or a music video, the content is so much more important than anything else. And I think going back to script, I think that's when you can say, like, if the story is good in script, chances are you're going to be able to move forward with it, because you're going to spend so much time working on that film. And there are painful moments. It's going to be a struggle. You want it to be a very big reward at the end, and you want people to enjoy it. So make sure you have a good story.
You see this every year, Martin, with your students.
Yeah. I mean, I would back up a bit too, that I think what story, a lot of people will equate story to is the journey, the hero's journey, and that there is an answer at the end. I think to add to what Emily says is that it's content that is important. And having produced a couple of films that don't have story in a conventional way, and advocating for those projects, and also advocating for student projects that are that way, or that are not clear, I'm going to say conventional stories, because I think having worked with emerging filmmakers and emerging storytellers over the years, is that, and as I have become wiser and more knowledgeable myself, I think what is important is clarity with whatever one does. So whether it's conventional or experimental, narrative of some kind, content is important. So that allows for poetic approaches, musical approaches, But I think what's really important is knowing what you want to say, that there is a statement in one's heart, and that there is the overall kind of impact that broadens that, so that it doesn't have to have that answer in the end. I think what's important is that even if one leaves a question for the audience to answer, that has to be clear. We have to get to that question at the end and not be derailed by confusing elements up to that point. So I think that's one thing that I think I am beginning to realize myself after working many years within the short film medium, is that in a feature you have that latitude to develop characters, develop stories, foreshadow. With a short film, a 5-minute film, a 8-minute film, that kind of thing, we don't have those kinds of liberties in a way. Like a short film, you pretty much have to have the audience in with you in the first 10 or 15 seconds. So now that I have worked and tried to piece it together myself, is that I think what's important is to, for a short film sometimes, is to leave that question, that clear question, so that the audience can make their own answers. You give them some work. You have them participate that way.